why Bitcoin adoption is the only thing that matters. And I mean the only thing. This is a video you are going to absolutely want to read, watch all the way through. Fix the money, you fix the world. The downstream effects are catamount to having freedom and abundance in your life and getting off the hamster wheel that you continually find yourself in. So that way you can get off and do what you were called to do and lead your family, lead your life, and have a life of abundance and freedom that has yet to exist on planet Earth. Let's dive in. What does it matter if you lose your soul? Nico Jones from Simply Bitcoin podcast says a version of this best, and this is one of the best Bitcoin podcasts out there about what the real meaning behind Bitcoin is. Again, we always talk about the number, the price, number go up technology. The price is the least interesting aspect. I'm more worried about the bottom 50% of the world that continually is getting poorer and poorer. The middle class is falling into the poor every single day. And this is the plan of the unproductive class. I guarantee you this is the plan. I've read their books. I've read all their books. I've read their papers. This is the plan. I'm telling you right now, do your own research. Do not trust me. Do your own research. Again, Nico, no man should be able to counterfeit currency into existence that another man then is required to pay for. Why should one person be able to counterfeit and steal your wealth and then turn around and make you pay for it? That is the current day government's inflationary fiat currency system we live in right now. So much of our lives are predicated off of lies. Lies that we tell ourselves day to day. Lies that other people tell us. Governments, people we know, people we love. That's life. And we need to be able to discern truth from fiction. Only once we get a grip on reality and the true foundational problems we have as a culture we are facing can we begin to clean things up. My real estate firm, helping people buy or sell real estate for the last 10 years and then acquiring and investing in apartment complexes and self-storage facilities, etc., is all fun and games. But when the whole world is crumbling around you and things are broken and people are hurting, what does it matter? I might be fine and my family and the people around me investing in our projects, but is it really what God put me here for? Just to make myself wealthy and make some people around me, my friends, my family wealthy? Is that really why I'm put here? I had the same question 10 years ago, leaving professional hockey. Why am I here? Just to be in the Coliseum performing for people like a monkey? Getting my head bashed in, getting in fights, getting pucks in the face? Is that why I'm here? Those are the questions I asked myself 10 years ago, and I find myself asking the same questions today. Why was I put here? Why? I know I'm here to spread a message, to spread truth, the voice inside me, calling me to do something that most people are not listening to. And we've all been there. We've all been there in not listening to things. That's the big thing we have to get through here. Fix the money, fix the world. Again, what is it to gain the whole world? But the whole world is broken around you and on fire. What's the point? What is the point? To gain the whole world but lose your soul in the process. The world's done. There's a 1% and there's the 99% below. And the world's on fire and everything's trash. What if you had $1 trillion on an island by yourself? What does it matter? What does it matter? What if they destroyed the currency? $1 trillion divided by zero is still zero. You kind of get the picture here. What's the point? The greater purpose, the greater good. But being through an individual all the way bottom up, not a top down collectivist mindset. That's the difference. The individualist, free market, capitalistic mindset, the individual from the bottom up. That's the difference. That's where the globalists have hoodwinked people into thinking that they are the ones. My intentions are great, I'm going to tell you, but remember, deeds, acted non verba, deeds, not words. As the Merchant Marine Academy, one of their sayings is parabellum is also prepare for war, peace through preparation. Again, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but parabellum is if you want peace, prepare for war. That's parabellum. And again, acted non verba, deeds, not action, or deeds, not words. So pay attention to what people are doing. Why can government leaders continually just say things and talk out of their behind, and yet they keep getting reelected when they keep destroying your life, taking more of your wealth, stealing more of it, printing more currency, sending it to far off land, sending it to wars, stealing your wealth, stealing your children's wealth, stealing your grandparents or your grandchildren's wealth, stealing everything from you, and then just continually get reelected over and over again. You tell me. This is how our monetary system works. Governments sell bonds. This is very important. Just a few paragraphs. Governments sell bonds. So basically a debt instrument. So you're loaning money. They sell bonds. And we owe the interest on that debt. This is going to get really wild. We owe the interest on that debt. So the government sends bonds to go get money because they don't have money. Remember, in our past, last few blogs and videos we've done, go watch those. We talk about the government doesn't have anything. They have zero. We give them everything, whether it's consent, whether it's voting, whether it's our money. They own nothing. They don't have anything. It's all ours. The White House, that's ours. Congress, that's ours. All those planes, weapons, everything, that's ours. Yet the government tells you, puts a barrel to your head and says, oh yeah, that's ours. The halls of Congress, that's ours. They don't want you to know that. Again, we own the interest on that. We owe the interest on the debt, on that debt. That bond creates debt. We owe that through our taxes to pay the Federal Reserve because they're the ones generally buying all of it, vast majority of it, which is a secret private cabal of elites, the unproductive class, that own the central banks. They're the ones that own the central bank. Central banks does not own by the United States. That's not owned by us. It's a private group of people, just like you and I getting together and creating a bank. That's what they did 100 plus years ago. And central banks have been around for a long time, for hundreds of years. And they get to profit off these bonds that then sit in their asset column and collect the interest, the coupon rate, to pay off that bond with the taxes that we paid in. The most insidious part of this is that the central bank, in this case, the Federal Reserve, has nothing in their account. Zero. They have zero in their account. They write a check out of thin air to purchase the bonds away from you and I in the open market, and that drives up the price away from the average person. So what that means is they're inverted yields. So the higher the price goes, they keep buying them up, the lower the yield is. So you get less and less. So not only does it cost you more, you get less of a return. And the kicker of all that is it's driving down the interest rate, like I said, at the same time. So the average person can't even save. Most people just want to go put their money in a bank, put their currency in a bank, and then go live and collect interest and collect a fair interest and live their life and have their savings accrue, and then they lend that out to people who want to go do other things with it. But you can't even do that because the Federal Reserve has taken all that currency, stolen it from you, bought bonds out of the free market, which drives up the price away from all of us who are trying to invest, and then that gives lower yields. So the people that are just sitting there doing nothing, want to save in their bank, they're getting nothing in the bank, getting zero in the bank, basically, 1 cent a month. So then this forces the average person to then continue working and work longer, work harder, work into their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and make more and more risky decisions. Random, ridiculous cryptocurrencies, sports gambling, sports betting, casinos, ridiculous other investments, make more and more risky decisions just to skate by and live their same lifestyle. This forces higher time preference and more short-term decisions, which, as we know, generally sacrifice long-term progress. Not to mention, it increases the looting, increases the criminality, the crime going on. It increases all the bad things you might think of in the world. That increases that. That increases civil unrest. It increases shortages. Everything you're seeing. Absolute clown world. And here from Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money, episode 4, it explains all this in a 30-minute cartoon video. And I say cartoon, but it's incredibly drawn out. And this is a quick synopsis of exactly what happens. Of the Treasury sending bonds over to the Federal Reserve here. They swap IOUs because the Fed has nothing, like I said. So a bond for another bond, basically a bond for a check with account from an account that has nothing in it. That right there, that process of swapping IOUs creates currency, pops into existence out of nowhere, and then that goes back to the Treasury and they spend it on all kinds of government works, entitlements, war, interest on the debt, and stuff like that. And then that goes out into the banking system and then really gets multiplied through the fractional reserve banking system. Then that increases that supply of currency, which prices are like a sponge. The sponge goes into that supply of currency right here and has to suck up all of that excess currency. So the more you print, as we know, Milton Friedman says, inflation is just a monetary phenomenon, just government printing currency. That's all it is. Don't confuse it with anything else. Don't let anyone else confuse you. That's all it is expansion of the currency supply. And then prices are like a sponge. They have to absorb all that currency. That's why prices keep rising. Then we're taxed on that currency supply that then goes to the IRS, which they then send back to the Treasury so they can pay off their debt to the Federal Reserve. And then the banks are along the way making their debt payments. They're getting money on the reserves, interest on excess reserves, stuff like that. And then people are getting dividends who own the Federal Reserve, the biggest bankers in the world, the Rothschilds, all that stuff. That is, in a minute or two, the explanation of the monetary system and the complete theft of what's going on. That's why we say theft is taxes. All theft is taxes. or all taxes are theft. Absolute clown world we live in. And we let this happen daily. Most problems we deal with are moot unless we fix the currency. Until we have sound money, we are fruitlessly going to bang our head against the wall and have the same problems. Unless we have gold or silver or Bitcoin, something finite or almost finite in terms of gold and silver, we're going to have the same problems. I guarantee it. That is mathematical, guaranteed. Will happen continually. Sick of government sending your retirement and your kid's future over to Ukraine in the form of military packages? Who's getting paid off there? Who's auditing any of it? I think we're up to about 20 packages now. Just saw another one get approved this week. It's incredible. We were like 16, 17 packages like a month ago, 2 months ago. Who's auditing any of that? Who's voting for that? Who's keeping track of any of that? Who's holding people accountable? This cannot happen with Bitcoin because you can only wage war for as long as there are people who hand over their money to the government. This is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trustless. I don't have to trust anyone to do their job. That's one of the million beauties of Bitcoin. You don't have to trust other people that they're upholding the system because it's decentralized. It's a decentralized ledger. It's auditable. It's open source. We can all see it. It's there for everyone to see. You don't have to sit there and think and hope and wish and who's doing that, what, and where's that money and where's it going? What are we doing? There's accountability in the system inherently, just because of the protocol and the way it's built. It's unbelievable. It's an immaculate conception. That is Bitcoin, the discovery of Bitcoin. Government cannot just steal from people by counterfeiting or printing it because they can't print it and they can't take anything that they don't get by working for it, which leads to asset price appreciation. Again, that printing of currency, like we said earlier, leads to asset price appreciation. And when assets trying to buy bonds or trying to buy housing, so it drives that price up because they're now in that game buying those away from us, and increases inflation at the same time, obviously, because now the prices of goods and services are going up as well. Because now people have to charge more, they're charging more, so now the whole system is just it's a negative doom loop. How is that working out for us now? Can the average person, again, like we just said, can they afford a home? Can they afford their student loans? Their grocery bill even? Their gas? You can thank politicians and central bankers stealing the hard-earned currency you work for right out from under you for decades. We are now living through the end result of that inflationary fiat currency system. So again, this is every generation before all of us. This is all of us have let this problem fester and continually get worse and worse and worse. Thomas Jefferson, I mean, this is late 1700s, 1800s. The issuing power of money should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs. These were kind of smart guys. Thomas Jefferson knew 11 languages. He could write 2 different languages at the same time with each hand. He knew the power needed to be back in the hands of the people. This is why they gave us the government they did. This is why Bitcoin exists now. It's exactly why. This is literally why Bitcoin was created. In the Genesis block, in the papers, the white paper, and all in the forums that Satoshi wrote about, it was the trust problem. We could not trust humans to run the central banks and to run this process anymore. We had to remove that. We needed rules now without rulers because the rulers couldn't be trusted with those rules. Why? Why we just print and send currency away? Why do we do that? If Congress had to vote and ask for people to spend that money or send it to Ukraine or send it to Iraq, send it to Afghanistan, and were told what was actually happening, then 99% of spending would never happen. Again, we don't have a tax collection problem. We have a spending problem, period. Only the absolute most necessary things would take place. Doesn't matter how pretty your tower is if the foundation is crooked or broken. Again, like I said, we don't have a tax collection problem. We have a spending problem. And Nico Jones talked about this a lot as well. Most people say, though, well, how would I live? I didn't get handouts now. Well, that's because this whole cycle, we're living at the end of the cycle. So it seems like you need handouts because you do in a way because they've broken the system so much up here because of the money that now it's just trickled down all the way to the spot where the average person needs handouts to live, which then ironically, the more printing, the more currency, more handing things out that people didn't earn correctly the right way now increases inflation even more. Like we said the other day in one of our other videos, you're going to get your Social Security. You're going to get your $2,000 a month, even though it's bankrupt in 5-10 years. You'll get what you're owed today, but it'll be in inflationary dollars. So you'll get your $2,000 you're owed today that they owe you or whatever, but a loaf of bread will cost $20 or $50. A movie ticket will cost $100. That type of thing. So you're going to get what you are promised. It's just not going to buy anything. So that's government currency printing. That's the fiat inflationary system. That's why we need a deflationary system. I've done a bunch of videos on deflation. Go check those out. This past week and then this past month, really, I've done a bunch of videos on deflation and the new opportunity that Bitcoin gives us, a deflationary system that fixes all this. It fixes climate, fixes the climate disasters going on that people care about so much. It fixes everything. It fixes the money spending, the wars going on. When you can't spend things you don't have, ironically, all these fake garbage programs, bills, sweeping plans, boondoggles, claptraps, they just go away. It's weird how that works. Really fascinating. But again, the incessant printing and destruction of the dollar from the printing has led the price of everything to rise and is now running out of the reach of the average person. Again, that's why they feel like they need those handouts now, because the base foundation layer of money is broken. So the whole thing now has come unglued. So the average person needs that just to get by. It used to be 50 years ago, again, you could have one person working. A man was working, could support his whole family of 4. Then you had to have a woman working. So now you had both people working, which now that's a whole different thing, which now the parents who's parenting the kids, that's a further drain on the system now as the nation just continually slides. And then now 2 wasn't good enough. You had to start using savings. And now once the savings are up, which is probably around 2000, now we're on credit. So now the credit has exploded. So now it went from 1 person working to 2 people working, to then draining all the savings and 2 people working. Now it's 2 people working and drained all the savings, and now we're using credit. Good luck. It's a vicious, vicious doom loop. It takes hundreds of thousands of pieces of Fugazi, pieces of paper, to buy the average home. Good luck with that. When it cost only 5,000 pieces of paper 50 years ago, around that, now it costs 300,000 of those same pieces of paper. That should tell you something. Nothing changed. The house didn't change. It's the same house. Again, it's cheaper to print this money on paper. Just a great little quick meme I like. Not your fault. Kissinger, the United Nations, and World Economic Forum. If you read the Agenda 21 from back in the day from the United Nations, or the current Great Reset from the UN and the World Economic Forum, then Council of Foreign Relations, I think that was the thing back 100 years ago, then you know the plan. But Woodrow Wilson, again, created the Federal Reserve, was behind that, got us in World War I, and helped establish the United Nations, which I believe is called the Council of Foreign Relations. I forget what it was now. They talk about in The Creature from Jekyll Island. This was all the beginnings of destroying the money and stealing all the wealth from the people, and the globalists trying to corral everything, the communist tenets of the Communist Manifesto, getting central banking and controlling the production of everything, and really having globalized, centralized power. Again, the unproductive class wants to make it as bad as they can, so the outcry is the strongest possible. People ask for the most centralization and power over their lives. Handouts and liberties being stripped. That's all it is. Again, this is not me saying this. This is book after book after book. This is quote after quote after quote. Again, Capitalist Manifesto has so many of the quotes, just came out a couple months ago from Robert Kiyosaki, has so many of those quotes wrapped up into one book from all the communists from the last 150 years, and their plan saying outright, taunting America, saying, we're going to destroy you. This is how we're going to do it. And it's through this process of destroying the currency, giving us central banking, taking over the food production supply, everything. And Henry Kissinger said back in the day, who was one of Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum, one of his biggest mentors, who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy controls the continents. And who controls the money controls the world. He knew what the Rothschilds knew. He who controls the money controls the world. This is simple. It's math. 2 + 2 = 4. It's not our fault, though. Most of us weren't around decades ago to stop them in their infancy, or weren't around 100+ years ago to stop the creation of the Federal Reserve, or hundreds and hundreds of years ago to stop the creation of the Dutch central banks and the Bank of England. However, this is where we are now. We must take the decisions where we are with what we've got. A new opportunity awaits us for a life of abundance and wealth growth instead of wealth destruction. A place where no one can take your wealth or tell you what to do with your life. This isn't science fiction. It's real and it's happening. The unproductive class is getting very scared because they know they cannot stop anyone from getting to the exits. Christine Lagarde, European Central Bank, a bunch of people are talking about this in the past week or two. As the Bank of England collapses, the pound sterling collapses, and these people start collapsing everywhere. These big entities that have run your life, my life, and our family's lives for decades, for hundreds of years. Their institutions, their power is now slipping from their grasp, and they are frightened. And they're going to tell you everything, every lie in the book to get you to stay in their system. Fix the money, fix the world. At the end of the day, it's about fixing the foundation. If that's not fixed, nothing else matters. Bitcoin is the escape hatch Henry Ford spoke about 100 years ago, about incentivizing peace, an energy money that incentivizes peace and gives the power of abundance and wealth back to the people and defunds the cronies and rent-seeking parasites, rent-seeking parasites running the world. So it brings the power and wealth back to the people, defunds the cronies and rent-seeking parasites around the world. Stay strong. Brandon, appreciate you. Please let me know what you think about this article. Please like and share. if you got something out of it, and please let me know if there's anything better we can do on this to give you a better product, give you better value. This is the fight of our times. We're in World War III. This is World War III. It's a mind fight. It's the 6 inches between your ears. Are you going to fear everything in your life, or are you going to get up off your behind and do something? Are you going to take control of your life? Are you going to take control of your city council? Are you going to take control of your school board? Are you going to take control of what you need in your life to give yourself and your family the best chance to succeed? I know this is Bitcoin. I've been studying this for 1,000 hours, and I know the problems of the system are not fixed through the current system. It has to be a new opportunity, a new system. Bitcoin gives us that. It not only is not inflationary, but it's deflationary. It gives us a new world where the average person can then grow their wealth over time and not be told what to do, simply, quite simply. And my last advice is watch Nico Jones and Simply Bitcoin and his trusty sidekick, Eternal Optimist. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.